headlines about the economy, it's time to ask yourself, are your financial plans ready? I'm Leah Patterson with Markets with Mike, and I'm here with investment advisor Michael McGaughan. We're going to discuss what these changes could mean for your portfolio and how you can stay ahead. Let's get into it. It's been hard to keep up with all the different trade deals President Trump has announced. This type of news can really shake things up, Michael. So what should listeners here in Alabama think about when it comes to keeping their retirement plans on track?
Well, so it has been kind of shaky, and if you remember, if we go back to April and some of the videos here on our channel that you saw back then, it made the markets very, very volatile during that time. So, you know, the number one thing that I would say is you need to be aware of what's going on, you know, have the information, know that it is potentially going to cause the markets to be volatile, but don't make long-term decisions based on short-term events or short-term market movements.
For those with more complex portfolios or tax situations, what should they be watching for?
Well, really two main things there, Leah, that they need to look for. You need to look for opportunities to rebalance your portfolio. So let's say you're supposed to be in a 60-40 portfolio, 60% stock, 40% bond. Well, because of changes in the market, you may have had a lot of gains in that 60% in stock, and then we have volatility like this in the market. That's a great time to rebalance because the golden rule, buy low, sell high. Rebalancing in times like this forces you to do that. So look for those opportunities to rebalance. Also, if you have investments that are not in your IRA or your Roth or your 401k, some kind of retirement plan like that, where you may be subject to capital gains tax, this may be a good time to look at, is there an opportunity to tax loss harvest in those accounts so that you can take advantage of losses, maybe to offset gains that you triggered earlier in the year. So that's the two main things I would look for in these situations.
What can our listeners do today to help protect their retirement savings?
Well, make sure you're reviewing your plan, your retirement plan. Make sure it's up to date. You know, talk to your financial advisor if you work with one. If not, give us a call. We can sit down and review them. But make sure that you do have a plan in place and that you're keeping it up to date regularly so that you can stay on track.
Jump into some highlights for this week, if you want to take that for us.
Yeah, lots of things going on. So the latest announcement on tariffs is from President Trump that there will be a global baseline tariff of 15 to 20%. Instead of making individual deals with different countries, separate deals, it'll just be a baseline across the board 15 to 20% tariff. At least that's what it is for now. We know those things change back and forth frequently. This follows an earlier 10% that was announced back in April, and they have added several countries to the list of nations that have not yet reached separate agreements with the United States. So this tariff increase, it could impact some smaller countries that we trade with, which had hoped for lower rates, and especially in Latin America and some of the Caribbean nations. So something to keep a watch on there. The president's approach suggests a preference for just a blanket tariff overall rather than negotiating, but we've also seen a lot of negotiation going on with individual countries. So still a lot of question marks there as far as how all of this will play out in our trade policy. And the last thing there is the increased tariffs also align with recent agreements with other countries like Japan, the European Union, but then there's a lot of difference too because Brazil and some other countries that have had rates up to 50%. So again, a lot of question marks there. We'll have to just kind of see how everything plays out as we go forward.
Well, thank you for giving us those highlights. So let's go on to something a little lighter.
You got another dad joke?
I've got another dad joke.
Right,
I can't exactly say this one. It's not really doing it for me. Not one of my favorite dad jokes I've heard. But
okay.
What has 4 wheels and flies?
4 wheels and flies. I don't know. The DeLorean from Back to the Future?
Good
That
answer.
has 4 wheels and flies.
Honestly,
so.
I like that answer better than this one. A garbage truck.
But a garbage truck. Well, it has 4 wheels and I'm sure it has lots of flies.
That is true.
That one is a little stinky.
I mean, I was kind of like, that one's a little...
That's a little stinky.
Dud. Not my favorite. Okay, moving on.
Well, what about a little this week in history? How about that? So
Wow.
let's talk about a little highlights here. So 1945, we're getting to the end of World War II. This week in history, in 1945, Japan surrendered to the United States and the Allies was made public in 1945. So
Seems like just yesterday, doesn't it?
you remember that. You were there for it, weren't you?
I was, front row, front row. Also this week in history, in 1961, the Berlin Wall was completed.
So I don't remember that, but I do remember when it came down.
You
So
do,
I do remember
okay.
watching TV that night, and Tom Brokaw from NBC, some of y'all
Yes.
remember him, was live on air as they were like out there with sledgehammers breaking it down. So
Wow,
big
I
moment.
bet that's something you won't forget.
So just a few years after the Berlin Wall was completed, 1969, this week in history, the Woodstock Festival, Woodstock Music Festival started in Bethel, New York. So all you music fans out there, big anniversary this week. So
Yes, and this one is for all our golf listeners out there. This week in 1973, Jack Nicklaus wins the PGA Championship. This was his 14th major title, setting a new record. So,
awesome. Jack Nicklaus, great golfer.
Yes.
So, wish I could play that good. I'm not even close. So,
I don't
and
know attempt.
our last little history lesson for all you Elvis fans out there, it is a sad week. In 1977, this week, Elvis Presley passed away. So I know a lot of Elvis fans out there will be in mourning this week.
Absolutely, understandably so.
So back to our topic today, the tariffs and everything. Here's the reality is that economic changes can always make us feel a little uneasy. They seem a little unpredictable, and they can be at some times. But your retirement does not have to be unpredictable. With the right strategies, you can stay on track and enjoy the retirement that you've always planned for and that you've worked so hard for. So our team here at Trilogy Wealth Management, we're here to help you. 3 things that we really look at with our clients is making sure you have a personalized retirement plan to help protect and grow your savings, creating a flexible income strategy, a written retirement income plan to help give you confidence in any market, and then addressing concerns like market volatility, changing tax laws, and give you that professional guidance that you needed. So, if that's something that you're interested in, something that you maybe just want a second opinion on, feel free to reach out to us here at Trilogy, and we would be glad to sit down with you and look at where you stand in your retirement plan.
Absolutely. Just like Michael said, don't let the economic uncertainty hold you back. Call us today at 256-467-4382. We are ready to help you create a plan that fits your needs and your goals.